Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast of pitcherlist.com. I'm your host, Eric Samulski, joined in this nighttime recording session by the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Pollack. Nick, how you doing?
What is happening? I'm really happy because Knicks are winners tonight.
They are winners. Yeah, we are. Yeah. We are recording after that game. We just kept pushing it back a little bit. Jalen Brunson had the bunny at regulation, but we made it. We big victory. That's a sport that, we're allowed to talk about every now and then.
Well, look, podcast. Eric, if there was a team called the Erics, I think you'd be a fan growing up here in this city.
It's true.
So it's hard not to care a little bit, but no, we got
also you play a little basketball. You coach a little.
Oh yeah, I coach it. I've coached it for 13 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun to watch that. And I've been so distant from that team for ages.
Yes.
But Eric was giving me a whole lesson about all of them.
Well, yeah, you still think that Steve Novak is on the team. So
I don't think he's still on the team. I just remember when he was on the team.
Yes.
That's all. I'm not going to say that, but yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about remembering the old Knicks, and I thought you were going to mention like the good years, like
I
the
was
Patrick
a fan
Ewing,
of Allen Houston game win,
and then you mentioning Jeremy Lin and Steve Novak.
The Allen Houston game 1 winner. Are you kidding me? Come on. Against
the Larry Johnson,
John Starks.
The Larry Johnson 4-point play.
Oh my God.
LJ. Yeah. Grandmama.
Back in the day. No, I was a sharpshooter, believe it or not, Eric. I was a 6'4" sharpshooter as the center who shot threes. I was a thing before it was a thing, Eric.
Yeah, I was a Temu version of Kevin Love. That was how I played.
You were Eric like.
Yeah, yes, basically a little bit. Eric, I kind of like you. Yeah. So we got
pitching to talk about.
We got pitching to talk about
actually today.
We got a list to discuss. Yeah.
Is it gone?
It is it was you.
Oh yeah, this mic has been doing weird things. Everybody watching live right now, it was gone.
Yeah.
Adam,
got it.
You got this. Thanks for editing this, Adam. I appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Adam. Yeah, we got to talk about the list though. Basketball's great, but so is pitching. And we're here to dive into the top 100. Our theme for this week, thank you for the assist. We're just talking about my weekend. Talking about, taking a wagon ride or pulling my son on the wagon to the local bakery. Get a muffin in the morning when it opened up. Kid loves a blueberry muffin. And so pastries, baked goods is our theme for today. So each tier will be named after a pastry or a baked good that you think is indicative of the pitchers we're talking about.
Sure.
So we've got slight movement at the top. We got some injuries and stuff, but tier number 1 starts with starting pitcher number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Paul Skeens. Number 3, Zach Wheeler. Number 4, Jacob deGrom. Number 5, Cole Reagans. Number 6, Hunter Greene. Into tier 1. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
I'm going to say the chocolate croissant, because that is to me just the thing that I see every time in it. I'm like, that's the one. That's the pastry you want to wake up with. You want to actually I just want to devour this, and it's always a winner. Yeah. Always a winner, Eric.
Can I tell you something?
What's that?
I'm really partial to an almond croissant.
Well, almonds are dumb. There's no joy. I understand. It was like the most
it's offensive.
Oxymoron name of a candy bar to me. Almond joy. No. Thing I hate, thing I love. No, that's not
almonds are great. And I put them on some ice cream sometimes too. They're phenomenal. They're also just
like let's take this thing and make it earthy and remove all the fun of the thing that it's in.
I'm gonna agree to disagree on that one. But why you people had asked for a while when Hunter Greene was going to be moved up. He makes his way into tier 1. What finally did it for you?
I mean, it's clear that tier 1 is a guy that you're going to start every time because of the ratios, but then they also have to carry a 30 to 35% strikeout rate. And the thing about Hunter Greene has always been, all right, is he going to allow too many home runs? Is he too volatile? Is he not going to keep the walk rate down, etc.? He's doing all the right things. His fastball's at 99 and not 97 and change, and his slider is returning a massive strike rate this year. So it's all there. It's all working. Every time you throw Hunter Greene out there, you expect the absolute dominance. So yeah, he deserves it.
He does. Yeah, he does. Great start for him. There's a name that we didn't mention up here.
No, we didn't.
All may have noticed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a mistake. I didn't skip
No.
it. It's going to be here in tier number 2, which starts with number 7, Max Fried, number 8, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, number 9, Garrett Crochet, number 10, Michael King, number 11, Joe Ryan, number 12, Bryan Woo, who's also the cover boy for this week's edition of the list. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the good old chocolate chip cookie. I mean, come on. Is that pastry? You're gonna bakery goods? Is that where am I extending this? Does it have to be like that? I'm gonna say that's okay. What are we thinking here, Eric?
I think that's totally fine. Yeah. Okay. I was going to ask you, are you like a soft, like a chewy chocolate chip person cookie?
100%.
Okay.
It needs to be like a moist fudgy.
Sure.
And fudgy is not really the word, but like that dense. You don't want like, oh God, the Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie is not a chocolate chip cookie. I'm sorry. That is just
unless you get the chewy Chips Ahoy, and then it's okay.
Yeah, and then that's still kind of weird.
Sure.
It's like chewy sugar bread.
When my wife when we do homemade cookies, she cooks them for like a minute to 2 minutes less than is recommended.
As you should. That's 100% right.
They're just amazing.
100% right. And it's always there. It's never going to be the greatest ever, but it's always going to be something that you know that you like. That's tier 2.
Chocolate chip cookie, just, they used to sell a 1/4 pound chocolate chip cookie at Shea Stadium. And when I was a kid, my mom took me and 2 of my friends to a Mets game. We were in middle school, and I left my seat to go walk to get a 1/4 pound chocolate chip cookie, and a foul ball hit my seat. Literally hit the seat that I was sitting in. And my best friend crawled onto the floor, like, obviously, this is back in the 90s, like grown ass men just crawling over him, trying to pull off this middle school kid from the baseball. And he held onto the baseball, and I got my 1/4 pound chocolate chip cookie. I have never lived that down to this day.
Yeah. What is in your life, would you say, the chocolate chip cookie that has taken you away from something else?
What do you mean besides that literal chocolate chip cookie?
Yeah. I'm just saying that's a good symbolic thing that happened,
right? It is. Yeah. And I'd have to, there are many things in my life that take me away from things that matter. But not this job though, baseball.
Almost a new game for this podcast, but not going to happen tonight, guys.
No. But Garrett Crochet down 6 spots here to number 9. Listen, it doesn't come out of nowhere. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, where he himself said, I feel like I'm getting away with it early in the season. Yeah. He knew that he wasn't crisp. He hasn't quite been crisp. He's still been good from a statistical perspective. Like, you're not upset that he's on your team. But I get it. I get that he falls into this tier, and he's no longer in, with the Skeenses and Scoobles of the world, and he could easily get back up there.
We're talking about soft baked, okay? Not crisp. Are we good again, Eric?
We're good again. Yes.
Man, my mic is this is all my fault, guys. Eric, I don't know why you're saying crisp. Should be soft baked the entire time. Sorry. Thank you so much. But the thing about crochet is twofold. I've been saying the extension has been much lower, 7.2 last year. Now it's like at 6.7. That's been a worry of mine. But the biggest one is last year his 4-seamer sat 97.2 miles per hour. And in this last game, do you know what his velocity was, Eric?
I was watching it, and I felt like I saw a lot of 94s, but I didn't check like what the average was at the end.
On the dot, 94.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's 3 ticks down, and also it looks slower than that because the extension's also down half a foot. Right?
It's also probably not a surprise that he went 5 innings in that start after Alex Cora pushed him near 100 in each of the 2 starts before, and then the velocity's down, and somebody's probably like, listen, it's April, man, or it's like early May. Like, he does not need to be going 104 pitches. Like, let's settle it down a little bit.
Now, I do want to say, 96.5, 96 in the previous 2, then also 94 here is a bit worrying. But really, considering that the extension just has not been there the entire season, even his first start, it was near 7 feet, but then now it's 6.7. It's gone down. So it's a bit scary for Garrett Crochet. And the fact of the matter is that I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and now it's just getting worse. Mm-hmm. It's not, as you said, it's not just a sudden reaction to it. It's hold on. There might not be time for us to do anything if in a week or two. So I'm making this move now as a preemptive one, and all of a sudden it comes back up. Great. Then me moving further up, but it could be further down soon.
Yamamoto's up 2 spots in this tier. Obviously, a lot of that had to do with King and Crochet dropping. But it was funny. I was looking up Yamamoto to potentially write about him for my article this week, just because I'm trying to identify like why starting pitchers who are pitching so well are pitching well. Are there any changes? And it's like there haven't been any drastic changes to last year. I was looking at like 4-seam shape, and it's like he got a little bit more, vertical movement on the pitch, but he's not using it up in the zone anymore. So it's like, yes, the fastball's a little flatter, but he's not using it up more. He's not throwing it inside to righties more. He's actually throwing it like over the middle of the plate and away more. The splitter has a little bit more movement, which I think is helping some of the swinging strike rate. But it's like the curveball isn't in the strike zone more often. Like there's nothing that jumps out at me as like, this is why Yoshinobu Yamamoto is having a great start to the season, other than I guess he was hurt last year and he was successful when he was on the mound, and he's just maybe a good pitcher who is pitching well, but he's not any different than he was last year. He's just healthy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the exact way. He's pretty much pitching the same 515 PLV last year, 517 this year. His hit per 9 is 5.4, which is unsustainable. And he had an 8 hit per 9 last year, which was probably a bit unlucky for him. That's really it. It is really funny, though. I don't think you ever see this. Yamamoto right now has a lower ERA than he does WHIP.
Yeah, it's so wild to see. I actually don't know the last time I can remember. I mean, I'm sure I've seen it before and noticed it and then forgotten it, but I don't remember the last time I can't think of who it was the last time I saw that.
Right. And guys, just so you understand this, generally, if you have like a 1.6 ERA, that means that you're probably not going to have a 1.7 WHIP. Like you have to be all the way down here at 0.9 versus 0.93 to be able to make that happen. And of course, we know that that's not going to stick around, right? I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. So I like what he's doing. I like the fact that we saw a little bit more cutters in the last game. Finally, it's something I've been asking Yamamoto for a bit with the 4-seamer going up too, but yeah, 12% in that last one. And I think he always has needed a bridge pitch that's not the curveball. So he goes 4-seamer, cutter, splitter, and curve. I think that's a really good mix for him. So everything's just good here. And honestly, the fact that he's just healthy that's it. That's all you really need to be, and you'll be effective, Yamamoto.
I should at least give you the floor to say anything you want to about Bryan Woo, since he was the cover image for the list this week.
The comp that we've had for Bryan Woo is pretty straightforward, right? It's been Zach Wheeler. And he's just done nothing to disprove that. It's a 2.58 ERA, 0.83 WHIP, and a 26% K rate. But really, more importantly, because I don't really care too much about those things, it's a 19% swing strike rate on his 4-seamer thus far. It is a sinker that is still not the easiest to hit. It is also a slider that has been mixed in a little bit more and has been really effective. A 71% strike rate this year with a low ICR on that. So everything is looking great. Good command on it. The 4-seamer is staying up a ton. His extension is fine, but really it's that flat attack angle 1.7 on that 4-seamer, which is really flat, and it only works if you actually can command it upstairs, and that's exactly what Bryan Woo does.
Yeah. Wild that Bryan Woo is the healthy Mariner starting pitcher right now. But
yeah, really, it's crazy because even Bryce Miller had the back thing.
Yeah,
unreal.
Tier number 3 starts number 13, Logan Webb. Number 14, Jack Flaherty. Number 15, Pablo Lopez. Number 16, Chris Sale. Number 17, Hunter Brown. Number 18, Spencer Schwellenbach. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
So here's the thing. I would actually say my favorite baked good pastry is an excellent brownie. Okay, like the Ghirardelli triple chocolate brownie. But they should be, they have ace potential every single time you look at them. So many places do a brownie wrong.
Okay.
It's that sugary, cakey one. It's not a dense, chocolatey one, right? And it's like you're playing with fire a little bit every time. Like, okay, I think I'm trying to analyze the top of the brownie to see if it's broken the right way and everything. I have to feel it if I can, if it's inside something, be like, I don't know. So it always has ace potential, has potential to be the best pitcher in baseball. But we're not quite there yet. We don't know. And we're so close to so many of these guys here in tier 3.
Brownie sundae is one of my favorite desserts. Just like a
Oh,
really
it's amazing.
warm
Always
brownie
the
with
best.
a
Yes.
cold
Ben
ice
and
cream on
Jerry's
top.
brownie. Amazing. They nailed it.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
They nailed it.
We got Pablo Lopez climbing back up. We got Chris Sale climbing back up. These are guys moving. There's been a lot of chatter. I just wanted your thoughts on whether people are concerned about Spencer Schwellenbach or not. Just because the last 4 starts have all been, let's say, inconsistent.
Yeah.
There was the bad Toronto start. There was a start, I forget who, after that, where it was like 3 runs in 7 innings, which isn't bad. Then I think it was 4 runs in 6 innings. And then there was the Dodgers start, which is, the Dodgers, and it was a bad start. But, James Shiano and I in our Monday Q&A got some questions on whether we were concerned. And I'm just curious if you're seeing anything recently that concerns you at all about Schwellenbach.
Well, I do want to say that the rankings this week are influenced by the fact that we removed Tyler Glasnow, we removed Shota Imanaga, and we removed Corbin Burns. And we also had to move down Dylan Cease. We had to move down Drew Rasmussen and Shane Baz. So this tier in tier 3 that would have a lot of those guys doesn't. And that meant that Pablo Lopez and Chris Sale with his amazing day, I was like, okay, fine, you deserve to be up here. Schwellenbach, I moved down underneath Pablo Lopez, right? He was underneath Flaherty before, essentially. It's hard not to be a little concerned about him because you don't have the same command of the arsenal as you saw last year. That's really the thing that right out of the gate I loved about Schwellenbach was, oh my gosh, this guy's throwing cutters inside and to lefties, and he has all these different pitches. He's a full array, and actually the worst pitch is the 4-seamer. If he doesn't throw that as much, like he's got the slider that's great, the curveball that's great, the splitter, the cutter change. I mean, it's not really change of a splitter, but it's insane. And he hasn't quite had all of them working. Like sometimes it's this one, sometimes it's that one.
Right.
And when you have a pitcher who has showcased this kind of command and feel for everything for a while, and they are losing maybe 1 or 2 more important pieces, and it's not, I say losing as in just not as precise, they generally get it back. I mean, that's just generally the rule. And especially if they still have effective versions of it. Michael King is a good example from last year, did not have a sweeper. Same thing with Pablo Lopez. They didn't have it early on, and then they found it, and everything was cool after that. And that's a question you often have to ask, is saying, okay, cool, this guy isn't having his success because of this pitch not being as productive or consistent. And then you say, well, yeah, that was an anomaly for him to have it in the first place. Or is it actually something we bank on? So with Schwellenbach, I think we should bank on him having that fuller arsenal moving forward. And I'm not that concerned. I think this is good by a low. I also think about Garrett Crochet last year. 3 amazing starts and 3 terrible ones, right? And the story of that was he introduced the cutter and it looked really good. He just kind of deserved 2 bad ones and then didn't really deserve the 3rd bad one. And I was actually in when everyone was out, and I was out when everyone was in. It was a weird thing going on. But after that was when Crochet went off. And I feel like this is kind of that moment for Schwellenbach. It wasn't a fluke what he did last year.
Right.
It wasn't. He deserved a lot of that success. And he deserved the success he had early on this season. I think he's just having a rough patch at the moment, and it's not what we're going to see for the most of the year.
And a lot of last year was recalibrating after some poor performances and then figuring it out. And so there's no reason why we shouldn't assume that he could do something similar this year.
Exactly.
Jump to tier number 4. Starts number 19, Carlos Rodon. Number 20, Dylan Cease. Number 21, Freddie Peralta. Number 22, Robbie Ray. Number 23, Jesus Luzardo. Number 24, Mackenzie Gore. Number 25, Drew Rasmussen. Number 26, Shane Baz. Number 27, Framber Valdez. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh, okay. This is going to be, I know it sounds weird. No, I'm gonna change it up. I'm gonna save that one for later. Okay, because I'm always a consistent.
I think it's the right choice.
I'm gonna go with the eclair because there's some really bad eclairs out there. You know, you're always gonna have an eclair. It's like kind of like pizza. Like there's a really bad one, but it's still good enough.
Sure.
But like an eclair, there's such variance in what you get out of them. Like some eclairs are just like that's how it's supposed to be done, and some of them, like the outside pastry, is a little too stale. Maybe the custard inside doesn't do it right. It's just not the good ratio of chocolate to pastry. So you know, like, okay, you should be happy with an eclair, but you don't know how much you're gonna love this.
I think anything with the custard on the inside is a gamble because you never know. You never know if it's filled properly.
Yeah.
You had alluded earlier to Dylan Cease. He dropped 7 spots here.
Yeah, he's a cherry bomb. You know, I tried so hard for so long. You know, this is one of those things, Eric. We're like, you know, it's been the same song and dance for like 4 years. I'm out on Dylan Cease. Oh my gosh, he has a great season. Fine, I'll like give in a little bit. Oh, now he's bad. You know, I'm like, it's the same guy he's always been. And sometimes it's going to be this, sometimes it's going to be that. He's going to go on a 2-month amazing stretch, and everyone's going to yell at me to put him in the top 15, you know, and like, I bet I'm going to be like, fine, I guess he's just this for right now, and I got to roll with it. And then he's going to be bad, and I got to bring him back down. You know, this is Dylan Cease. All right. He still should do really well against righties because the 4-seamer and slider are both better commanded there. Sure. And then against lefties, he still doesn't have a really good third pitch for when he can't spot his 4-seamer or his slider is going too far down. I mean, it's the same thing as always. He's just a cherry bomb. You're not going to drop him, and good luck.
Yeah, I see him vacillating between tier 3 and tier 4. You know, as the year goes on. Yeah, it's like, is he better than Chris Sale? Sometimes I think he will be. Sometimes he'll be better than Pablo Lopez. Sometimes he won't be, and I get that. There's a big jump here for Mackenzie Gore up into this tier.
Yeah.
Listen, it's another like, I got burned last year, and when we bought into the breakout in the first half, and then it didn't happen. And I know this features new pitches, so it's not exactly just like him, you know, being the good version of last year's Mackenzie Gore. It's, you know, making improvements and changes. But do we think that this may finally stick?
Did you just see the cat? Is that what just happened? Oh no, there's a cat on the table here the entire way. Mackenzie Gore, there's 2 things. One, yeah, the slider is helping against lefties. We know that, right? I mean, that's a big deal. That's another element of his game that's solved. He's still going to have problems with that fastball. He's still going to have problems with that curveball, just about general command of righties. And I just had a day of like, you know what? These guys are cherry bombs. I don't think there's a single person who's going to be dropping Mackenzie Gore. There are things that can go wrong for like a month, and then you finally do it. I don't think he's that guy. Right. I think the fastball should be good enough to do this. I think there's enough whiffability in what he does that it should generally be good enough throughout the rest of the year. And I just kind of clumped him with Jesus Luzardo, who's pretty much the same kind of mold. Robbie Ray and Dylan Cease. You would have had Corbin Burns probably in here as well. You have Freddie Peralta. I mean, come on, cherry bomb city. And honestly, Shane Baz and Drew Rasmussen kind of belong in there too, because Rasmussen it's more of a volatility of, okay, you're going to go hopefully 6 today at some point, but right now it's in 5 and change. And, right, you know, sometimes like 0 runs, but then a couple hits get around 4, but it's never like the overwhelming strikeouts. So like you're happy and sad all the time. And Framber Valdez, again, he's just like Dylan Cease to me, he's the same thing. He always is. Every month year. Somewhere, everyone's going to be like, aha, see, he was amazing all year. And he has like a 4.3 ERA right now or something. It's so frustrating.
Yeah. And we do this dance every year with Framber Valdez where we rank him kind of like in the low to mid 20s. And that's where he winds up ending up. Gore, I'm covering in my article on Wednesday. So yeah, people can check that out over on NBC Sports. But I am, like you, similarly impressed by what I've seen so far. Less impressed by some of the names in tier number 5, but we'll get to those guys after this break.
Had to let the cat out.
Yeah. Tier number 5 starts at number 28, Aaron Nola. Number 29, Nathan Eovaldi. Number 30, Bailey Ober. Number 31, Seth Lugo. Number 32, Christopher Sanchez. And number 33, Sonny Gray. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
It's donuts. You know, because you go to an event. I've literally done this. I kid you not. I was going to a party, realized they didn't have anything, and I knew there wasn't like a liquor store or anything to get some beer. And there was a Dunkin' Donuts, and I just got a dozen of donuts and brought them in, and it was a winner. And that's the thing. It's just like donuts are always there for you, you know. You don't want too much of them.
Sure.
You don't. But donuts are always there for you.
Are you a Munchkin fan?
I mean, of course, it's sugar.
Okay, so just any kind of sugar.
No. It's sugar and bread. Like, there you go.
Yes.
But no, of course I am. But a good Boston cream donut, that's the best one.
Yep, I agree. My son is a big fan of just like regular donuts with just like sprinkles. And so we've started getting those. And he likes the pink frosting and sprinkles. It's like, whatever, have your fun, man. But yeah, little just sprinkled donut. Love it. So good.
Yeah.
Aaron Nola at 28 is high for you based on where, you've been trending with him in the preseason, in the early stages of the season, but he seems to be kind of climbing back up your rankings a little bit, not into like the, hey, I'm a great SP2, like top SP2 anymore, but just kind of reliable, stable. Is this a little bit of like what he said to me when I spoke to him before the game, where like he just needs to get his command in order? Like, he's not the type of guy that's going to walk 4 in a game, and he was doing that early on, and now he's figuring it out.
Yeah, with Aaron Nola, I actually really should mention that when it comes to making the list this week, I stepped back a bit to understand that a lot of the depth is going away. This is kind of the moment where there are a ton of injuries. The guys who have been given opportunities, who we would be excited to pick up and whatnot, are more or less figured out. And some of them are doing really well. And there are more downturns than there are excitements. So that means that a guy like Aaron Nola, who might have been a little bit lower, well, other guys are struggling. And that pushes up someone like Aaron Nola, right? If, not when I say like, hey, this guy's at 45, and if he does well, it's likely that not all other 44 are going to continue to do well. So as Aaron Nola has progressed, he's introduced the cutter that I really liked. The velocity is at 92. The command of his changeup and his fastballs in general has just been really nice. So he's a stable Holly. I have him with Nathan Eovaldi, who has 4 pitches that are working really well, right? Bailey Ober has been better. I don't love the fact that he's at 90 and change, but he is locating at least better to lefties and has a changeup there. Now he just needs to locate better to righties. Seth Lugo is doing Seth Lugo things. Christopher Sanchez has that forearm scare, but I guess he's okay.
Yeah,
and Sonny Gray.
He never felt that before, but now it's fine.
Yeah, weird. And Sonny Gray is sunny and gray skies, so he's just going to be there.
Yep. I get it. A little boring tier. I totally agree with you on the depth. I play in very few 15-team leagues, but they're all industry stuff like TGFBI and Turf, which is part of like the GLAR for Earth leagues or whatever.
Yeah.
But it has been more of a struggle for me in a 15-team league this year than I can recall in years past, finding pitchers when like I had, guys like Justin Steele or, we drafted really early. So like Shane McClanahan, Giolito, and it's like, yeah, there haven't been as many guys to fill in. And I think that a lot of the guys who like have emerged as, kind of like quote unquote breakout stars this year as pitchers were guys who were doing it early enough in spring training that they were drafted. They were, they were the Max Myerses and the Jack Leiters and the Christopher Sanchez's and the Clay Holmeses or whatever, where you weren't scooping them off the waiver wire.
Jesus Luzardo.
Right. Jesus Luzardo. Yeah. There's a guy that everybody wants to drop in tier number 6. But I'll tell you, this tier starts with number 34, Ryan Pepio. Number 35, Bryce Miller. Number 36, Nick Pivetta. Number 37, Sandy Alcantara. Number 38, Tanner Bybee. What's this tier called? Why is it called that? And who is the pitcher everybody wants to drop?
Of course. This is you going to a foreign country and you're getting a packaged pastry that you have no idea what it is, but you're told that it's really good.
Okay.
And you're just like, all right, I guess so. That whatever that is. I don't know what it is because I don't know. But I'm told it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're just hoping.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, look, we think that this should be a very good thing. Look, it's packaged, it's clearly successful. Everyone seems to like it. I just don't really know what it is. I mean, look, It's a situation where you're holding this, you're going to eat the pastry, and it's probably going to be good. I understand why a lot of people would be upset at most of these, maybe not one. And I feel like he's actually the odd one out, which is Nick Pivetta.
Sure.
And it's just that I think that Pivetta ultimately isn't really a Holly because he is that strikeout guy, but he is a cherry bomb. He goes back and forth. I don't know how this Yankee game went today. I think he's doing all right. I think he did pretty well, from my understanding. But
He did fine. He was solid. He's going to
yeah,
get the
good job.
loss, but he did totally fine.
Good job. And good job, Yankees. But with everyone else here, I mean, Ryan Pepio, I think people wanted me to put him down further. And I kind of thought about this as a cherry bomb tier. I thought that would be like in the 40s. But honestly, I had to drop down too many guys that Pepio just stuck around because, yeah, his stuff is really good. And I know that it's been a little tumultuous and you don't always see the version that you want. Small sample. I think across the full season, you are going to like Pepio, especially as Pepio gets that runway to continue developing. Bryce Miller, we know should be better. And I have to throw away his last start because of the back problem that just messed him up beforehand. And even though he had 0 runs in 5 innings, it was also like 4 walks. And it's just ignore that. And Sandy Alcantara, what do you think we should do with Sandy Alcantara, Garrett?
He's the one everybody wants to drop.
And
everybody has said, have you given up on him? No, I'm not. I'm holding. James and I talked about this on the Q&A today. I'm holding Sandy Alcantara. I think early on in spring, if you were drafting in the early stages of March, I think he was drafted probably too high because his first spring training appearances looked really good in 2-inning spurts. And I think that too many of us got caught up in the, like, we may get 80% of Sandy Alcantara right away. And we were fully in on that. And I'm saying we because there are 2 leagues where I got him where I think I would not have drafted him had the draft been 3 weeks later, not because I don't want him, but because I wound up ranking him in like my mid 40s, but I drafted him in like SP 35 or something, because that's where I had him at the time of the draft. The velocity was up 1.5 miles today on the sinker. So
really?
the velocity today on the sinker, he sat 98.2 miles an hour.
Woo-wee. On the sinker, not the 4-seamer.
And the 4-seamer was up 0.3 miles an hour, but the sinker was 97.7. Sorry, the 4-seamer was 97.7. The sinker was 98.2. So that's getting closer to the Sandy Alcantara. We know he wasn't that far off to begin with. The whiff rates on some of the other pitches, on the curveball, the slider, the changeup, they were like kind of similar to what we've seen in the past, a little bit down, but nothing drastic. Tonight against the Dodgers, 11 whiffs on 47 swings for a 23% whiff rate isn't all that bad. The command was the biggest issue, but again, he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, so we knew that command was going to be an issue. Today, it's like 62% zone rate overall on the day, 80% zone rate on the fastball. The sinker and the 4-seamer really pounded the zone today. Like, I think we are going to slowly see him start to iron out some of these kinks. And I think by June or July, we're going to see something that looks a lot closer to the Sandy Alcantara that we're used to.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you guys right now, the whole plan, we knew this for like a good week. I even put the ranking last week saying like, yeah, you're probably not going to start out Sandy Alcantara for like a good 14 days because you got the Dodgers. And it's just like, you don't want to start Alcantara against the Dodgers. You just don't want to right now because he's figuring this stuff out and we just don't expect this to work. And even before the ranking, when I did the ranking, it was before the start tonight. And I said, yeah, this is literally because in a week you're going to want to have Sandy Alcantara because he's not going to have the Dodgers right now. And like he's going to be, he still throws hard, as you were mentioning here. He's still getting, look at that, 18 inches of run on the changeup, 90 miles per hour. And actually something that's new today for Sandy Alcantara, a much bigger lean on the curve.
Yeah, I saw that.
86 miles per hour. And I'm a huge fan of that, except that you can't do that at 44% strike rate. At least he's trying, though. And it wasn't like those were massive mistakes. He just kind of missed a little too much. The thing about that curve is I would think, okay, I'm going to put this 2 ways. One, it's not a big curve. It is actually kind of a 0-0 almost curve. It's like a 0.6 or 6.0, whatever you want to put it, as in like 6 drop and in 0 on the x-axis. If you think 0.0, that's normally what we say for a gyro slider.
Mhm.
So for it to be a curve like that, even though you have a tilted arm angle, it's not really a curve. It's just a slower version of a slider. It's not really that far out movement wise.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, the
Well, that's the
a
thing.
slower velocity band is nice for him.
Right. And it's also why it's important for me to say that movements like that is because with a bigger one in the lower velocity, you normally just get takes. You would get batters not chasing as much. But I do believe that because it's not that bigger movement, because it's a little bit tighter in it and it's at 85, 86, that's why you see 3 over 18 whiffs on it in this one. And I think there is promise to this if he continues to throw it and actually gets a little bit better feel for it. The real issue I'm seeing at the moment is that he's just not locating at all. Like, the fastball is just, it's just, here you go. And like, no, that's not supposed to be Sandy. Sandy's not supposed to be that at all. He's supposed to be able to locate a little bit better with the four seamers, especially the sinker getting into righties. It's a little bit more out of the plate right now. The four seamers just kind of go and hit me against lefties. It really bothered me seeing in the corner of my eye on playback, watching them watch this game as I'm finishing the notes. And there's I guess it's Hassan Kim hitting a single to left on a 97 mile per hour fastball that was just kind of like middle away. I'm like, what are you doing? That's like the biggest gift you can give a guy like him. So little things like that drive me nuts. And I think it'll get fixed over time. I will mention, we haven't seen Sandy Alcantara be really good for a while. We missed him all of last year. And in 2023, he wasn't good. So 2022 is the last time that we saw Alcantara actually be legit. And I won't rule out the fact that maybe Alcantara isn't actually that great anymore. Maybe he isn't able to spot like he used to. Maybe he isn't as perfect with his secondaries as he was before. So that's still in the back of my mind. It's not an absolute given. But given the entire list at play here, the landscape of pitchers, he's such a clear play. I mean, you can't, I don't know who you're dropping him for, honestly, that you'd rather have in a week or two from now. So I absolutely suggest you hold on to Sandy Alcantara.
I would agree. I would agree with you on that one. There's some interesting pitchers you could even pick up in tier number 7. Starts number 39, Kodai Senga. Number 40, Zach Gallen. Number 41, Luis Castillo. Number 42, Reese Olson. Number 43, Nick Lodolo. Number 44, Clay Holmes. Number 45, Lucas Giolito. And number 46, Brandon Fott. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
That's banana bread. It's never exciting, but like, you look and like, oh, is there a snack? Oh, banana bread.
If you add some chocolate chips to it, it's even better.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah. Reese Olson is up 13 spots. I think that we both agree. We talked a little bit about this last week. The changeup and the slider are running really hot right now. And when they are, he can pitch with anybody. And there's nothing really new. Like, it's not like the four seam is that much better. He's just pitching like the best version of Reese Olson right now. And that's great. And he might be in the 50s or 60s in a little bit.
Yeah, I really want to believe that he'll go 15 over 42 whiffs on sliders and changeups in every game, right? But Reese Olson, as you mentioned, when he's good with those two pitches, it's really great. He reminds me of the old Guardians pitchers where they don't really want you to put the fastballs in play at all. They just want you swinging as much as possible on the changeup and slider. I do wonder if over time we'll see that four-seamer lessen against left-handers. I hope we do. I was really excited. I saw just 16% four-seamers, but then I realized it was 39% against lefties. So it still is very much present. It's just that he didn't face many lefties the other day. But yeah, Reese Olson, I mean, I feel like you're going to hold on to it the entire year at this point. Like, there aren't many others that really offer what he does on the wire at this moment. I think you just got to hold on to it throughout the year.
Yeah. The arm you could pick up was Lucas Giolito, who made his debut last week.
I'm so shocked.
And
why does everyone hate it after the first start? Like, why wouldn't you jump in?
When I did my waiver wire column on Sunday, I checked the Yahoo roster rates. He was 14% rostered on Sunday. I think that there's just been, and maybe it's my Red Sox bias that I'm prone to like picking up on the negative. I just think there's been so much negative conversation about Giolito for almost 2 years now because he was really bad in the second half of 2023. He didn't pitch at all last year. And so all we kept hearing about was like either that he was what a failed signing by the Red Sox, blah, 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 or he was a former ace who's not any good anymore, whatever. Then he got hurt at the start of this year. And granted, it was a hamstring injury, not an arm injury, but it fueled more to like what are you going to get out of Lucas Giolito? 60 innings? Like, I just think that people don't believe in him anymore. I watched the vast majority of that start, and I thought it was a really good start. Like, I was very happy with his performance. He was absolutely carving them up until he tired in the last inning, and he was literally a strike away from getting through 6 innings.
Oh,
like
I know.
An 0-2 hanging changeup to Varsho that he just drove
didn't
out
get
of the
far
park.
enough away.
Right.
And then a
And
1-0
you're
hanging slider, and that slider is the biggest question I have for Giolito. Really, is that
Yeah.
fastball changeup looked good. Those were great.
And the fastball looking good is different than what we saw from him previously. Like the fastball had a little more life.
Yeah,
than
93 and
the last
change,
time we
not
saw
like 91, 92.
Yeah.
And it's just a question of, all right, are you going to have a cutter? That's actually what we kind of thought they would do. But that doesn't appear to be there. The slider did not look good. And that has been a reliable pitch from him in the past. It was just not at all. And that first one, so that's the biggest hang up I have. But
Yeah,
for the most part, yeah, you were going to start Giolito constantly, guys. I mean, he's supposed to be a workhorse. He pitched a ton of pitches in that one. Could have gone 6 in his debut back. Like, why? Who are you not dropping for Giolito? Right. Is my question.
Yeah, I love that you have him ranked 45 right now because I think he's a top 50 starter right now with easy top 40 upside if that slider takes a step in the direction that we think it can, because it just adds another level for him.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to some young starters in the next tier. But before we do that, we're going to take just a little break. So tier number 8 starts at number 47, Jackson Jobe. Number 48, Chris Bubich. Number 49, Grant Holmes. Number 50, Tyler McGill. Number 51, Ben Kasparius. Sounds like a Star Wars character, but Ben Kasparius.
Okay, all right. That's Phyllis Bailey's thing.
52, Tony Gonsolin. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh, man. Well, you already said the one I had before, which was the Munchkins.
It's okay. Go for it. Yeah, Munchkins. All
right, fine. I'll just call it that. Let's move on. Yeah. Munchkins. Okay. So the young guys, but you're always like, oh, hey, all right. I can grab one of those. Pop. It's great.
Has anything changed with you for Jackson Jobe? Like, he still isn't consistently missing bats?
Actually, I will say I'm more encouraged, even though it was a bad start. I love the fact that he's throwing as many sliders as he is. And what's really strange about that start is that the slider killed it, and he threw that by far as his most thrown pitch. But then the fastball and the sinker were just so often swung at and made contact. Like they were always just sitting on them, so they easily took the ones that were out of the zone, and then they made contact on the ones that were in the zone. And it just kind of amplifies the fact that, yeah, you should continue throwing sliders. Yeah. And I think the next step for him is curveball usage going up too. So I'm really curious to see how this transpires with Jobe over time. I don't really think you're going to get what you want in cores because it messes around with your slider and your curveball a little bit. So I'm curious how that one will go. I don't really want to judge him for whatever happens because it could just be a good one because the lineup's terrible. But yeah, Jobe, I think in the long run he is already developing, and I don't think people quite notice it. And I'm excited about it for the future. So
yeah, it's just frustrating that the development hasn't come on getting any swings and misses with his fastballs.
That's true. I think it's going to take time. I mean, remember, he's a low extension guy.
Yes.
So you aren't going to get like the overpowering four-seamer necessarily. They are a four-seamer and sinker mix, though, that should be above average. Yeah. And that's a huge thing for having a really good slider. And also having what should be a really good curveball, and also it should be a really good changeup. So the fact that he doesn't really have a weakness in his arsenal itself is what is very appealing about Jobe. And the fact that he's willing to not throw as a fastball as the primary pitch is also incredibly exciting.
Mm-hmm. You know who else is a low extension guy?
Ben Kasparius.
Ben Kasparius.
Yeah, 5.9.
It's 5.7 today.
Oh no.
5.7 today, according to Kyle Bland's wonderful, beautiful live
This is a
stats
PL
chart.
Pro live app, I should say.
Yeah.
Like Kyle Bland, of course, is helping us make. Yep.
I said, I wrote about Ben Kasparius last week, and I said, there's a lot of things to like. I liked the cutter. The cutter's missing a ton of bats to lefties, which is important for him because the curveball is kind of like a meh pitch. And he doesn't throw the slider as much to lefties. And so he kind of needed it. But his swinging strike rate to lefties was 5% higher than it was to righties. He doesn't have a pitch he throws inside to righties. That only pitch that he could throw inside to righties is his four-seam fastball, but he doesn't really locate it inside to righties at all. And so I just said, if you're stretching out a pitcher like this, I understand that Stuff Plus models go crazy, pitch models go crazy for the just the raw movement on the pitches, and that he has looked really good this year. But if you're going to go through an order and see hitters 2 or 3 times, and you don't have anything to throw inside to righties, I think it's mildly problematic. And that wasn't to say don't pick up Ben Kasparius or don't use him. It was just to say, I don't know that unless he changes his attack plan as a stretched out starter, I just don't know how high the ceiling is because of what the arsenal is. Like, it was a very unflattering comparison. And I don't mean that he's Graham Ashcraft, but Graham Ashcraft was also somebody who set Stuff Plus models on fire and really wasn't that great against right-handed pitch hitters because everything he threw was away.
Okay, well, hold on. Don't no. The reason that Graham Ashcraft set Stuff Plus models or Stuff models haywire is because his fastball was really a cutter. And he was throwing a cutter that, not like Ben Kasparius throwing at 92, was throwing his like 96, 97.
Well, but the cutter and the slider were both really exceptional Stuff Plus pitches.
Sure, but Graham Ashcraft didn't have a four-seamer. And it wasn't the reasons that their stuff was doing what they were was different than why Ben Kasparius is. Not to mention the failure of Ashcraft wasn't the fact of like he doesn't have a plan for right-handers. It was that he doesn't have a plan with his cutter because he doesn't know where it's going to go. Right. And yeah, I'm with you. He tried to actually introduce the sinker a ton with him and he just didn't know where it was going either. Ashcraft is the perfect example of like, you can have all this stuff, but if you don't know where that thing is going, goodbye.
Now, I think it's more the idea of seeing a Stuff Plus number and saying, oh, this guy is somebody who's going to break out
because of that. I'm with you there.
Because of that, where it's, yes, I see the Stuff Plus of Ben Kasparius. I understand.
You want a better one then?
Sure, go for it.
Former teammate Bobby Miller.
Yeah. Oh my God, Bobby. Oh my God. Can I tell you?
I need to make fun of it for myself.
We talked about how poor my turf team is because I took a 12-team draft strategy into a 15-team league. Is poor by me. But like Michael King, Shane McClanahan, Sandy Alcantara, Gavin Williams, Lucas Giolito, like that's the staff of that team, and that is obviously not panned out for me. And I looked back at myself last year, right after the early rounds of my turf draft from last year. I said I waited on starting pitching, and I landed Cole Reagans and Bobby Miller, and I'm stoked with my 1-2.
Oh man, but you got Reagans.
I know, but then I got Bobby Miller as my number 2 last year. Terrible.
Man, that was so unfortunate. Here's the thing. Ben Kasparius, what I do like is that his approach actually can very much work. You don't really need to go inside. You don't have to. If you have a four-seam with 18 inches of vert, that can work if you keep that upstairs. And generally he does. The problem I have is that the slider can be very hittable at times. He's not always really good at getting that down and away. That's what he did in this one. Same with the cutter. It was a lot of it was like kind of just middle. Now against lefties, the curve can be good. It's not that consistent, like a 50% strike rate here, but it was 36% CSW. He did get strikes. He did get those called strikes. He got some whiffs on it as well. Four-seamer stayed up there too. Like you can see how this can be pieced together. I will say, you got me thinking a bit, and it's actually kind of a thought I've had before, and I didn't realize this was another example of it. But the Dodgers really don't like sinkers. And I get it because stuff models don't really always like sinkers. However, I mean, it's really just Dustin May is the only one I can think of inside that rotation.
Right, and that's because that's
Sasaki should be throwing a sinker.
right.
Ben
And Dustin
Kasparius
May
should
has
be
like
throwing a sinker, right?
Dustin May has a weird like a I mean
Yeah, it's
it's
like
like
a
a
four
one of a
seamer that really
kind
is a
type of
sinker,
sinker.
right?
Yeah.
So no, but those that's the kind of thing I think about is like, right, they're just trying to chase that stuff number a bit. At least it seems like it is from the outside. And yeah, Kasparius could definitely use that, especially when you're trying to stretch out a guy.
Mhm.
How do you get him through 6? Generally, the most effective, most pitch efficient approach is sinkers inside. It's why the Pirates did it for so much, because their philosophy was 3 pitches for every at bat. And that means you throw sinkers inside. Eventually, they're going to swing and ground out, or they're going to get a single or something, right? Like that was it. And eventually they got Tyone to stop doing that. And Glasnow, they tried to get Glasnow doing that in the beginning. Can you imagine? What? So that's something that definitely Kasparius could lean into. He is more north-south for the most part, or at least it's kind of interesting with his movement. There's just nothing that really, like, even his four-seamer, it almost has cut action on it, right? So it is more over the top, which means that you don't generally have that much run that you can get. But just even as a surprise pitch, it can go a long way. You don't need to throw 30% to right-handers with it. You can throw it like 10, 15%.
Right.
And when you're behind 2-0, all of a sudden here's a sinker that comes in. That stuff can be really effective. The long story, though, about this is the Dodgers. Good situation. Ben Kasparius, you do miss bats. And it does seem like the Dodgers are putting him in a position to get wins. He didn't have a start today. He followed. He had an opener.
Got the win.
Got the win, right?
Right.
So I'm cool with this.
Yeah, listen. 4 innings, 1 run, strikeouts, gets the win.
1.5 whip.
That's it. Yeah. It was 5 hits and 2 walks, so 7 base runners.
Oh man, I thought it was 6.
Yeah.
Oh god.
No, so 7 base runners in 4 innings against the Marlins.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of your downside, and that's against the Marlins. So what does it look like when he goes further? Who knows? But again, worth having on your team, worth figuring it out.
And Gonsolin's also there, of course. I don't love what Gonsolin does, but I recognize that, hey, you are on the Dodgers, and let's just kind of see how this rolls out, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like to believe that the slider and splitter are going to be consistently great for him. But you know what? Let's just take a shot on Gonsolin. He's in a phenomenal situation. Fine.
We got a fun tier of random mixed guys in tier number 9. It starts number 53, Gavin Williams. Number 54, Kevin Gossman. Number 55, Landon Rupp. Number 56, Max Meyer. Number 57, Gunnar Hoglund. Number 58, Dustin May. Number 59, Lance McCullers Jr. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the Cronut, because these are hipsters. And they're all, it's the next latest trend.
Yeah, don't wait in line for those trends.
Yeah, wait in line. But yeah, these are the ones that are just, what am I supposed to do, guys? I know I'm going to get angry things about each one of these, but this guy shouldn't be this high. This guy shouldn't be this high. It's so difficult to figure out what to do. And I'm going to repeat this. 60 through 72 are like, fine. They're Tobies. They're whatever. I'm sure some of these are on the waiver wire and some of them aren't on your leagues. And it's just pick your choice of it, whatever. And if you want to go for that, just go for that. You got nothing. I got no qualms with it whatsoever. But if you're actually trying to find someone who could potentially break out and be a 25% plus strikeout guy that actually helps in the ratio department, one of these is going to be that guy, right? And you got to take those chances, make mistakes, get messy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully one of them is that. And it's just one weird moment where they're not having their best times of the season. That's it.
I mean, the 4 guys in red were the four of our favorite, like, later round draft picks. And Gavin Gavin Williams, Landon Rupp, Max Meyer, Dustin May. Gavin Williams, I have not cut him in any of my leagues.
But he hasn't cut his pitches.
I want to bang my head against the wall. I just it's so frustrating to watch. I think that there's a good pitcher in there. I don't know if it's because he doesn't know how to pitch or what. I don't know. Landon Rupp in danger of losing the rotation spot right now. I didn't watch obviously tonight's start because I was busy parenting and then watching the Knicks and then doing this. But the stat line from the start looks good, so I'm excited to watch it tomorrow and see if he looked any better. Dustin May continues to be a guy that just infuriates me. I just think he should miss so many more bats than he does based on his pitch movement. I watched the Gunnar Hoglund start.
Yeah.
Sunday morning, I watched it in full. I love like watching MLB.TV starts the day after and just like watching for a particular pitcher and just like watching the half inning and fast
oh yeah, you said
and
you can
watching the half
actually
inning
hit
and,
the right arrow to go 10 seconds ahead.
and
Right.
I love doing that. I kind of liked what I saw.
I dug it. The fastball looks fun. Fastball looks like a laser, and I love laser fastball.
I gotta say, the first thing I saw, I watched his first pitch, and I was like, "Why are you?" I hate pitchers that like slightly turn their shoulder to the catcher and don't look at the glove the whole time.
So
and
you
I'm
love? Oh yeah, no, that's
I'm
the
like-
thing that got me. Oh, I meant to
like,
mention
what
that.
are we doing?
Oh,
Why
I
are we
hate
doing that?
so much. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Eric, you just got me. Oh, guys, if you don't know, if you're watching right now on YouTube, this is what we're talking about. Okay, it drives me insane. There's actually a whole thing with Albert Pujols. He talks about hitting. He's like, he doesn't move his head. It's like a chicken.
Yeah.
Like his whole body moves, but his head doesn't, right? And in Hoagland, what he does is he goes into the wide, he turns, he lifts his leg up, and then he puts his head towards third base. And then he finds the plate again. And he go, why? Why? What are you doing? It's a tick. It's a thing that you get into a rhythm. It's just what you've always done. And it's, I get it, but
I was surprised he threw so many strikes. Once I saw that, I was like, this guy's going to be all over the place. And he wasn't, and good for him. The sinker has a lot of arm side run, and that changeup is nasty. And he'll use the changeup to righties and lefties. And so I love the 3-pitch foundation. I don't love he has like 2 sliders, it seemed like, from the start. And
like
I've seen them classified as different things depending on the sites you look at. Neither one of them like really stood out to me, which is mildly problematic. Again, he can use the changeup to righties, and it was getting lots of swinging strikes, almost like a quote unquote kick change or split. It's not, but I just mean he can use it with that split action. And so it's not like he has nothing for righties. I'm just a little worried that he's going to be pitching in Sacramento in the summer, and if those sliders aren't actually better in the future starts, and so he's not really a strikeout guy, that he might give up too much hard contact or too much contact.
It's absolutely possible. The way I see it is I really like this fastball, and as you mentioned, the changeup's great, and it's like it's above average command. It's not like he's just chucking it or whatever. But it's really just about, okay, cool, the secondary is going to develop or not. And I hope they do, but I think it's a good foundation that he has. And I enjoy watching it. So I was like, all right, let's just go for this, see what happens.
Why not? It's worth a shot. I just got to mention Lance McCullers.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you have him on here this high.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. And the thing I realized is that, man, his stuff is still just as filthy as ever. And so I just thought to myself, okay, you know what? I know it's 3.2 innings. It was inefficient. I'll say that he's going to be a little bit more efficient when it's not his return from 2 years or something like that. But Lance McCullers is kind of Lance McCullers, and it likely will be a high whip. He will get you strikeouts. He will also be on a winning club, and he certainly has an opportunity to have a sub-4 ERA. I don't think you really should be going for this. However, everyone else below doesn't really have the same filth as a regular starter like Lance McCullers does now. And it really, I was so impressed watching his changeup. That changeup was really good. And I know this, I know the whole thing about it. And I felt like I was going to have him like the 70s or something. And then it's just like, well, yeah, I want him to hit all these Tobies. I don't care about these.
I get that.
So that's really what happened. That's why he's at the very bottom of that, And I even thought about the next grouping of frizzles, right? Like the ones that are the intriguing high upside guys. And yeah, all of them are kind of I don't really think that would be in any way regularity of production. So here you go. Lance McCullers. I guess so. This is the state of the landscape.
I'm still staying away, but I get what you're saying. But he would be
in many situations. I'll be going for the Tobies instead too.
Yeah. There's some guys when we get down to tier 12. There's some guys. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that in a little bit. But tier number 10 first starts with number 60, Michael Waka. Number 61, Matthew Boyd, who had a really good outing again tonight. Number 62, Ranger Suarez. Number 63, David Peterson. Just a lot of lefties here. Number 64, Matthew Liberatore. Number 65, Jameson Tyone. And then my dude, number 66, Bryan Bayo. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the welcome Entenmann's. Because it's just been there in shelves for so long. It's just, you know what it is. And the thing is, nobody says, you know what? Can we, this restaurant doesn't have Entenmann's, right? They don't say that. You know, it's not the thing that you go out to dinner for, but it's just always there. It's just always there if you need it.
My best friend used to get, for his birthday every year, used to get one of the Entenmann's, like the yellow cake with the chocolate frosting, just like the old school. And he used to eat the whole thing. That was what he wanted. Always just ate the whole thing by himself for his birthday. I mean, he wasn't alone, but he wouldn't let anybody else.
Okay, good. All right. I didn't know if he ate the whole thing by himself.
No,
okay.
He did. He wasn't like by himself eating it. He just
but he was with other people and they had to watch him eat it.
No, everybody else had other things. It was just like he would keep it in the house. Like his mom would get it for him for his birthday. And it was in the house. So and then he would like come home and have a piece after school, have another piece an hour later, have another piece an hour, like, you know, that kind of thing. It wasn't like you sit here and you watch me eat.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I just want to, you know. Hey man, that made it happy. That's cool.
Yeah. Ranger Suarez back, Matthew Boyd, you know, looking pretty solid. Like this is just a tier of guys who are kind of like boring, but good.
Yeah. Suarez wasn't, but he was.
But we know who he's going to. I mean, we know who he's going to.
Well, I mean, I think he actually pitched pretty well.
Yeah.
And then the results, I think it was 6 earned runs, did not follow. It was against Arizona too. That looked like good Ranger Suarez. 92 on the fastball for Suarez. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to completely ignore the line here. I'm happy we got the still out of the way. Matthew Boyd did not really take advantage of the Pirates, but then again, apparently the Pirates are like the second tier offense now, according to Peelbot, which is absolutely wild. It has like every other tier that's like, oh yeah, cool, that makes sense. And then there's just the Pirates in the second tier, which is crazy. So I guess it makes sense. And hopefully he has whiffs tonight when I go and check that one.
Bayo, listen, Bayo's been using his 4-seam up more in the zone or up out of the zone this year a little more.
Yeah, he did that in the last one. That was cool.
I kind of dig it. I wish that he didn't. I was going to say something that would be inappropriate on this podcast. I wish he didn't beat around the bush so much in terms of like attacking the zone with his off-speed pitches. He just nibbles too much with the changeup.
What would you get? Oh my God, Eric. I'm trying to think of what you would say.
What?
Oh man. No, he's right. He doesn't attack as much.
He doesn't. It's a little soft for me. I don't like it. But again, I am generally a fan of his, and I see the pieces and I hope that they can fit together. It's funny. I got distracted because we were talking about how great you said good job Yankees. And I just saw that Devin Williams allowed 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning and the Yankees lost the game tonight.
Did they actually?
Yeah.
Oh,
Devin
cool.
Williams. Yep.
Thanks so much for that.
Guess not getting that job back so soon. But yeah, Bayo, I still have hope, but after Giolito's first start, I made a 1-for-1 swap in my home league where I was like, all right, I've been holding Bayo and I just said, I'm just going to pick up Giolito. I think the upside is higher and that makes sense with the rankings.
Yeah. There you go.
Tier number 11 starts number 67, Chris Bassett, number 68, Justin Verlander, number 69, Casey Mize, number 70, Merrill Kelly, number 71, Nick Martinez, number 72, Jose Soriano. What's the tier called? Why is it called that?
This is Debbie. So it's like just
that's
like
my mom.
Yeah, it's just like the other. Oh, it's your mom? No, but you know what? The Debbie's the
Little Debbie's.
Little Debbie's. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's not Entenmann's. It's the cheaper one.
They had Little Debbie's. They had some good ones.
Yeah, you always felt like it was the cheaper one. Like I always judge it by what the prices are in the bodega, and the bodega prepackaged Entenmann's was always more expensive than the prepackaged Little Debbie's.
Sure. I like the Little Debbie's, the Swiss rolls, you know, like the chocolate rolls,
like the Hostess, but it's the Swiss rolls.
Yeah. And there were also Hostess cupcakes, but Little Debbie also had cupcakes.
The Yodels are the Hostess version of what you're talking about.
Yes, true. The zebra cakes, Little Debbie had zebra cakes. Those are
They
pretty
did.
good too.
They did. Yeah, they were fun.
Nutty buddies. I
So
enjoy
we have
anything with
Chris
the peanut
Bassett
butter.
and Justin
Yeah.
Verlander and whatnot. And Justin Verlander lost 2 ticks of velocity on his fastball. And I'm really worried about that. And I wish he comes back. He's also getting the Cubs right now. And like tomorrow, I think it is. And I'm like, I don't want to go near this for the moment. So I'm scared about Justin Verlander. I actually wonder if there was an injury because that was like 2 ticks down all of a sudden. And would kind of explain why they would bring up Kyle Harrison all of a sudden. And it makes a little bit of sense if they're making some sort of move or whatnot with that rotation. Everyone keeps talking about Hicks. They talk about Roop, but it might just be an injury somewhere. So I'm a little worried about Verlander. I could just be stupid about it. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, Merrill Kelly, Nick Martinez, Jose Soriano, like these are also solid Tobies. It's just the other tier just feels like a step above these guys.
Sure. I get that. I want to move to the next tier because there's some pitchers I want to talk about. But tier number 12 starts number 73, Jack Leiter. Number 74, Tyler Maui. Number 75, Taj Bradley. Number 76, Shane Smith. And number 77, AJ Smith Shawver. Again, this was all before Monday's games. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
I'm just going to say pie. And the thing is, I don't really go for like fruit pies or any kind of major pie. You know, it's fine. But if you just say I'm going to have some pie, I think it's a big gamble because maybe, just maybe, you might get a Boston cream pie. You just might. So
that's your. You love a Boston cream anything.
It is so good, Eric.
Yeah, you just love it so much. AJ Smith Shawver was good tonight.
I'm gonna write him and I haven't analyzed any of it yet. I will. He's the lead for the roundup tonight.
And I think that, like, you know, we talked a lot about the jump that he made to the big leagues last year. He and Schwellenbach both skipped a level, I believe, from AA up. Smith Shawver got hurt and struggled, but like there's a learning curve. And, you know, he wasn't great to start this year, but he wasn't also bad. You know, lots of extension and movement on the fastball. The fastball was really good tonight. He really fast. Honestly, like now that I'm looking at it, it's like his stat line was really good. The fastball kind of just carried him tonight. Like the fastball was the only pitch that was like really impactful for him. It was just enough against the Reds on the road.
The Statcast data,
the Reds were on the road, not, you know,
right.
The
Statcast data is really weird on this because I don't know what to make of it at all. You have to understand here, Smith Shawver has this 4-seamer clump that is saying, hey, cool, here it is at like 8 inches of horizontal ride. And then you have another clump that is pretty much the same vert on that 4-seamer, but then
it's called a splitter.
But but the same vert, not the same ride, not the same run.
Right.
That is it's another clump there, but then you also have a splitter that actually is less.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The splitter,
the
splitter clump to me
is a cut splitter.
It's weird. It's like it's a cut splitter, and then it's the regular splitter, and then he also has
the same amount of vert as the 4-seamer.
Right. And then he also has one random slider.
That probably wasn't a splitter. It was probably like a cutter or something. But then they're saying that, I mean, the only reason that they're calling it a splitter is because there's no spin, I would imagine, on it. That's how they would differentiate. So I don't know. And there's one slider just hanging out at 87 miles per hour, just being like, this isn't where I parked my car. This is very strange. Long story short, I'm just looking at it right with you. Yeah, 72% strike rate on the 4-seamer. Splitter and curve were both 45 and 42% strike rate, respectively. You're 100% right. This was just a 4-seamer. Try and hit it. You're the Reds. You can't. I think I don't know. He has 7 feet of extension, which is good. 95 mile per hour 4-seamer. 16 inches of vert. It's kind of dead zoney, honestly. And 1.3 high adjusted VA is good, but he doesn't really go upstairs much. So I think this is a lot of blame it on the Reds, to be honest. And the curve on the splitter, just like, what?
I need to look at I'm like watching some of these clips as we're talking of the splitter, and it's like the movement profile on the splitter just seems so varied, just from pitch to pitch. It's wild to me.
But the thing is, his 2 clumps. It's oh my god, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some discussions tonight.
We are going to have some discussions, but he's going to be in the rotation for a little bit. You know, Spencer Strider is still like not throwing off a mound.
Yeah, like long toss today.
And so you know, there's still a long buildup there. And Smith Shavers is, you know, an interesting enough pitcher, and he has enough upside. And, you know, we'll dig into the pitch mix a little bit. And then look, another decent start from Shane Smith. Again, it's nothing exciting right now in terms of like the stats, overall stats, but you got a 5-pitch mix. I like the foundational pieces. I think there's like a very unique split of his pitches here. They all attack different parts of the plate, and he, generally speaking, commands them relatively well. I had appreciated that he was mixing in the sinker more. He only threw 5 tonight. I think he kind of needs that because the 4-seam fastball hasn't been great for him. I do see that it got 10 called strikes tonight against the Royals, which is just wild to me.
Whoa. Yeah. Okay. So what's what the biggest like narrative I've had about Shane Smith?
No.
Do you remember this? You don't know this. Okay. That's fine. It's totally fine.
When I watched him, he threw lots of 4-seam fastballs down the middle of the plate and didn't get hit hard. And I didn't know how he did that.
Yeah, that's very fair. Shane Smith has showcased diminished velocity a lot as he goes through the game. And especially as his pitch counts go up, it gets like lower and lower and lower. And so we normally have seen like 94 as the pitch velocity. Actually, I'm looking at Savant right now. It's 94.8, right? But his minimum today was 94. And his high was 97.4, and he averaged 96. And that's not actually, I haven't really seen that. He still went down as the season went as the start went on, but then he actually climbed up a little bit by the end. He actually let it loose a bit. That's cooler. Like I've been waiting for that moment of Shane Smith to actually showcase it. Hey, I've done another start, and this is 91 pitches. This isn't him at 95. And he had an average of 96 through 95 pitches, right? That's progress. That's really cool. So that gets me more excited about Shane Smith. I probably would rank him higher, actually, in retrospect to this. But you are totally right. I mean, he just shoved this 4-seamer down the plate. The slider, too. I mean, 74% strike rate, but like so many of these are just down the middle. And that's the other element that we got to figure out with Shane Smith is, hey, can you actually command all these things? You have a filthy changeup, but you went 0 for 14 whiffs on it today.
Right.
Like it's piece by piece. Also, you play for the White Sox, and I mean, you only went against some schlub today. Who did you go against? Who was it?
Yeah, Schmoldagans.
What'd you say?
Schmoldagans.
Schmoldagans. That's the one you come up with.
I don't know. It just came out to me. Schmoldagans. I'm just Cole Reagans.
Cole Reagans, who absolutely destroyed because he's Cole Reagans, and it was 5 innings of 11 strikeouts. Yeah, 5 base runners, 0 earned runs.
We can just hope that Brian Bayo looks at this and says, "Oh, I'll just throw strikes against the Royals later this week, and maybe that'll work for me." Brian Bayo, maybe it'll work for you. Let's do it.
Yeah, totally. It's totally gonna work.
Tier number 13 starts with number 78, Brady Singer, number 79, Tomoyuki Sugano, number 80, Clark Schmidt, number 81, Bowden Francis, number 82, Eduardo Rodriguez. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the food and the beard. This is like the pastry that you still have because you have a beard, and you're like, it's always gonna be there. And you might get some crumbs. It might actually help you. But you're like, but then someone says, hey, don't do that. You go, yeah, I probably shouldn't.
No, you should. It's okay.
See, right? It's tier 13.
You're allowed to. Just really quickly, this is Tomoyuki Sugano getting onto the list.
Yeah. Such good command. The last game, I think it was against your Royals, the Royals that we were just talking about. But 4-seamers are up and the splitters down on lefties in like absolute precision. Like with a mouse clicking it, it was incredible. And I remember when he first came over, Sugano was touted as that command guy. We didn't really see it at all. But now we're in May, and I can understand someone coming over to the States needing some time to get used to it. It might be the moment that Sugano is actually finding a rhythm. So I have him as a Toby right now. If he keeps doing this, then he might climb further.
There, you heard it here. Buy it. An Oriole pitcher you can actually buy into.
I know he might actually be the savior of this team.
Shocker. Tier number 14 starts with number 83, Jordan Hicks, number 84, Tanner Houck, number 85, Andrew Abbott, number 86, Roki Sasaki, number 87, Jake Irvin, number 88, Luis L. Ortiz, and number 89, Will Warren. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Eric, I am going to do a callback.
Okay.
I'm going to do what might be my favorite tier name I've ever done. I did it years and years ago. This is Case Cake.
Okay.
Okay. It is that cake that is inside the case at your diner.
Okay.
And you look at it and you look, man, they made this thing look appealing. This thing, you look at it, you go, oh, I could really get a slice of that. That looks really good. But you open it and you realize that this thing's been here for weeks and it's not actually something you want to have.
Sure.
And that is what tier 14 is. It's just all of these dudes who, like, you can see, you can squint and you know exactly how this is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, is it likely not going to be.
That's my boy. That's my boy, Luis L. Ortiz.
Yeah.
He keeps sucking me back in. There's just
the phrase.
There's just so much more. There's just so much more swing and miss than, and I see it. I see it in there. It's so inconsistent.
He just can't locate. He can't locate.
But I mean, they've made so many changes to his arsenal in terms of not only just the pitch mix, but also the pitch,
right? Like, hey,
pitch locations. That I'm like, I think this guy is just sorting through so much new information, and if it clicks in like July, it would not shock me if all of a sudden it just starts to like settle in, and he just goes on a run for them in the summer. Like I'm fully here for it. I'm ready for it. It's going to happen.
I hope so. If you have Sasaki, it's like, I get that you want something to happen, but he needs to learn a sinker. And Jordan Hicks, I mean, I don't know, he's up to 96 now instead of 94, but I don't know, man. I think he should be out of the rotation in the bullpen.
Or in the minors, because he signed a minor league contract, Roki Sasaki. He could work it out in the minors.
It's true. He probably should. And Jake Irvin was throwing 92. Sorry, he was. And then he went to 90.
Yeah.
That's really terrifying because he was at 94 last year, guys. So I had to drop him all the way down.
Yeah, you got to do it. I get it. Sad days. The last tier here, number 15. Such number 90, Colin Ray. Number 91, Ronel Blanco. 92, Cade Povich. Number 93, Jose Barrios. Number 94, Hayden Wesneski. 95, Michael Soroka back off the IL. Number 96, Luis Severino. 97, Mitch Keller. Number 98, Tyler Anderson. 99, Yusei Kikuchi. And 100, Jeffrey Springs. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
This is your loaf of bread because it's going to be
actually
bad in a week.
Maybe. Okay, I get what you're doing.
And you know what? And you take a slice of it, and one of these guys could be the best thing since sliced bread for that.
Since sliced bread.
Yeah.
Boom. I sometimes we get some bread at the bakery and then just like go home and make some eggs and put it over the top of like a nice focaccia, and it's like a really nice, really nice morning. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna let you take this time to just plug your interview with number 92, Cade Povich.
Oh man, guys, you have to listen to it. Did you listen to it yet? It's okay if you didn't. You had a busy weekend.
Didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I do want to though, but I didn't get a chance to.
I was able to sit down with him for 100 minutes. I remember it was like 9 a.m. on Thursday last week. And actually, like, it ended at like 10:30, 10:40, and then I hung out with him for like another 20 minutes before starting the stream. And it was great. He's if you guys don't know, I was watching the Orioles game on Saturday, and Kevin Brown, the announcer for the Orioles, was mentioning Cade Povich and said that, yeah, Cade Povich introduced me to a site from Pitcher List, to an article that they had about, the changing offensive environment. That was Nate Schwartz's amazing article. And I was like, what? Like, okay, first of all, Kevin Brown's giving us a shout out on the Orioles broadcast, but then it's Cade Povich who told him about him. Like, wait, why is Cade Povich? Okay. So I went in and sent him a DM, and we did this thing for ages. And he's such a chill, amazing guy. He also showcased the journey of what it's like being a soft tossing lefty in high school and fighting and working your way to becoming a major league pitcher. Like, that is such a fascinating journey that I haven't really heard because he was born in 2000. This is a youngin. This is what it's like actually in modern baseball to figure it out. So what Cade Povich really talked about with me is how he uses his pitches a bit, what he's working on. And honestly, it didn't really help my perception of him a ton at first, because it really showcased, right, he is still struggling a little bit with command. And to be that guy that we want him to be, he really needs to be like a Freed who's able to put things where he wants, knows what he can do with this and that. And he's still kind of toying with the changeup a bit. He's trying to make sure the curveball is where he wants it to be. The fastball sometimes goes here and there, etc. However, he has a good matchup or two ahead of him. I think he has a fantastic mind for tweaks and adjustments. I mean, that's what he even did between starts. That wasn't so bad against the Yankees. Even then, he even mentioned this really funny tidbit about the sweeper he threw to Aaron Judge was like the biggest horizontal movement he's had on a sweeper all year. And that was supposed to be a backdoor in the corner, and it would have been, except it got all this extra movement, went over the plate more, and Judge hit a home run. And it's just like, well, I didn't know I was going to do that. Like, so it was the right pitch. I did everything right. It was just better than ever. So little things like that, he's just so aware of talking that right language. And I tried my best to really say, like, dude, you got to bring back the cutter in. You got to try and do that. Yeah. And I hope he will do it inside to right-handers moving forward. But long story short, you know, K. Povich could be effective against the Twins. And that's really what it is. He has a two-step, I believe, this week. It's Twins and then another one. But among all the streaming options out there, I'm like, all right, yeah, he can do that. He has enough in the arsenal to do it.
Yeah, listen, and he was good in the minors, and so there's always a chance. I'm excited to listen to that. I'm always intrigued by young pitchers who are willing to kind of like adapt. I do think that, like, we saw that with Schwellenbach last year. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. Just I do think it helps raise the floor for the fantasy performance that you can, if you have a deep enough arsenal of pitches and you can adjust to what works better in a given environment or what in
it's why the Shag Rug actually exists, is that veterans understand what they're able to do to change themselves and to get away with on days that they don't have their best stuff. They have to figure out what else they can go into. And young pitchers are just like, well, this is the only thing I do, so I'm just going to keep doing that. And they don't know all those little adjustments. So to hear that kid is already in that spot of grasping those little minutia of changes is really encouraging.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's really encouraging is that we get to do this yet again next week, talking about even more starting pitching. I'm Eric Samulski, the Pelican.
I'm Nick Pollack, the Lion.
And I'm gonna go to the grocery store and get some Little Debbie's right now.